tuning in to Halton News tonight. It's Wednesday, June 10th, and I'm Jessica Kading. Good news today in Halton. There are no new active cases of COVID-19 being reported in the region and 5 more recoveries. Breaking it down by municipality, Burlington currently has 20 active confirmed cases, Oakville has 27, Milton has 30, and Halton Hills only 12 active cases to report today. While donating blood may not have been top of your mind during the COVID-19 pandemic, especially considering all the physical distancing restrictions in place, the need for blood donations never went away. Canadian Blood Services has now made some modifications to make it easier and safer for you to give blood.
As restrictions start to ease across the province, the need to donate blood is increasing. Canadian Blood Services is hoping more people will come out to donate. Territory Manager for Hamilton-Burlington region, Simrat Diol, says they had a great response when the pandemic began.
We got a lot of national response all across Canada, and our donor centers were booking out quite well. But right now the need for blood is rising. We're seeing that hospitals are starting to do elective procedures where blood is needed. So we're asking that donors come in as much as they can, for males every 2 months and for females every 3 months.
Canadian Blood Services is asking anyone and everyone to donate, especially those with universal blood type O negative. Diol says they have made changes to all donation centers to ease any safety concerns.
The 2 big things are that we're only doing now appointment basis, so we do not take walk-ins at the moment. That's just to limit the number of people that we have inside our donor centers. And the second thing that we did is a lot of wellness checks and physical distancing inside the donor centers as well. So when you first walk in, there will be initial wellness checks which go through COVID questions, and you'll also be going through like a temperature check. And then when you're inside, you'll see that there's a lot more taping on the ground just to make sure that everyone is 6 feet apart at all times. Canadian Blood Services, our donor centers are places of wellness, and donor safety is our number one priority. So at all times we make sure that all of our nurses and staff and all donors coming in are wearing a mask at all times. That way we make sure everyone is safe.
The Burlington Donor Center is one of many across Halton that have made adjustments to make room for more appointments.
We are right now open 6 days a week because we've actually added in Mondays. So we're open from Monday all the way to Saturday, and we look for about 250 donors per week. You can also go onto blood.ca and just type in your postal code and find any donor center that's nearest to you in the Halton region.
By the way, this is National Blood Donor Week, with Sunday being World Blood Donor Day. So what a perfect time to go and donate blood. All you have to do again is to go on blood.ca and register. Reporting for Halton News, I'm Melissa Candelaria.
Of course, you would not want to donate blood if you suspect you have COVID-19 symptoms, but some allergy sufferers are having trouble determining the difference between what they think might be allergy symptoms versus the virus. The owner of PharmaSave Dundas Niagawa, Zia Dino, says it's a question he is asked multiple times every single day.
So, you know what, it's although some of the symptoms can be very similar, but there are some subtle differences between COVID symptoms and allergies. I mean, allergies typically, the classic presentation of allergy is stuffy nose, runny nose, sneezing, itchy, watery eyes, red eyes, itchy skin. So these are all usually common allergy symptoms. So when someone comes in, presents to me with these symptoms, at the time when I expect allergies to peak, which basically is around spring and summer, and also now with the fact that a lot of people are having more time to spend at home, so more time in their gardens and backyards and more time taking walks with the family, they're getting more exposed to all these elements, these allergens that bring about these symptoms. So, you know, the first response is let's try to treat it with available allergy medication. And that's where we come in as pharmacists and educate the public and educate those patients about how to treat that condition. When someone starts telling me, well, I have a fever, I have difficulty breathing, you know, some of these symptoms, they're not usually allergy symptoms. Like fever is not something that happens when you have allergy. Actually, PharmaSave put out a very nice comparison chart that is very helpful. We're finding it helpful for patients. It's at pharmasave.com. And it's right at the center, and it kind of goes along with the news release that was done a couple of weeks back. And it's how to distinguish between allergy and COVID and cold and flu. So, if you look at it, it'll give you a nice comparison of what are the common symptoms with COVID. I mean, now COVID, it's an ever-changing scenario. It's including symptoms such as abdominal discomfort, diarrhea. It's including symptoms that we didn't think were related to that, which is basically red eyes or conjunctivitis, which is an infection of the eye, which also could be an allergy symptom. But when it's allergy, there's a great deal of itching. Whereas with COVID, it's not usually associated with itching. So, there is a way to distinguish between the subtleties, of the different conditions. And I always encourage patients, if you have a question, pick up the phone and call me. Pick up the phone and call your local pharmacist. Pick up the phone and schedule a phone consult with your doctor. Obviously, as the first line of defense, if you will, being that we're readily accessible to the public as pharmacists. I mean, we haven't closed one day during the pandemic. We've been open day in and day out, and we're happy to do it. We're happy to educate the public and calm, all the concerns that patients have, rightfully so, of course.
The Oakville Chamber of Commerce held their weekly Conversations webinar today, right here in our Your TV studio. The chair of the Oakville Chamber, Tim Cadigan, was joined by Oakville MP Anita Anand, the Minister of Public Services and Procurement, who has been responsible for the purchasing and distribution of PPE across the country during the pandemic.
My personal focus has been to ensure that we have multiple supply chains operating at the same time, both domestically and internationally. And so on the domestic front, I've been working closely with Minister Nav Bains, who is the Minister of Industry, Science and Technology, to ensure that we've got that domestic capacity that will carry us into the future if another pandemic were to occur. And we are seeing deliveries of domestically produced goods occurring on the ground every day. So over half of the face shields that we have had delivered have been produced right here in Canada. And as I said, that's the good news story of this pandemic, that Canadians from coast to coast to coast have stepped up and have said, we are going to turn this ship around. This is going to be a time where we will be able to produce our own PPE and we will be ready for the future.
MP Anand says the biggest challenge faced during the crisis has been the overwhelming demand for PPE equipment happening simultaneously in countries around the world, but she's been inspired by the response of our local community to deal with this crisis.
One of our abilities as a community is to come together in times of need, to support each other across sectors, to speak with our elected representatives in a professional and heartfelt way, and to make the points heard so that we can solve problems together. And that's something I really love about this town, and that's why I really love being the Member of Parliament here.
If you'd like to see that entire interview with Minister Anand, you can find it on the Oakville Chamber's website or on yourtv.tv. It is Indigenous History Month. I was able to connect with MP Pam Damoff earlier today with another way that you can get involved.
So June is Indigenous Reads, and it's a month when we encourage people to read Indigenous authors. And so in Oakville, North Burlington, I have been encouraging people to read Jessie Thistle's memoir, From the Ashes. We've been actually encouraging every year since I was elected residents to read Indigenous authors, and this year we're really fortunate. We've got Jesse doing a virtual book club with us on June the 18th at 5 p.m. He's going to join us. It's limited to 100 people, but I will ask him some questions. We will take questions from the audience, and you still have time to read the book. It's a pretty easy read in terms of how long it will take you. Parts of it are pretty difficult to read through, but he does a really good job of not making the painful parts of his life so difficult that you can't continue reading it. So Jesse is a Cree Métis man who spent time in foster care, has spent time living on the streets, and is now a professor at York University, is one of our leading experts in Canada on Métis Nation, and is a really great guy. I've had the opportunity to speak with him. So we're pretty excited that we're going to have him on this Zoom webinar, virtual book club. So there's information on my Facebook page. You can sign up. You still have time to get the book. So it's From the Ashes by Jessie Thistle. It's one of the best books that I've read, and I'm pretty sure that you'll enjoy it if you take the time to get it and read it this month. So join us for Indigenous Reads on June the 18th at 5 o'clock.
You may be familiar with the big Amazon warehouses in Mississauga and Brampton. Well, a proposal has been submitted by the company to expand into open warehouse space in East Oakville. The Ward 3 Town Councillor outlines the town's concerns on the next episode of Oakville Matters. Here's a snippet from that.
There's a site plan application at the corner of Cornwall and Ford. It is to take an old warehouse and it will be an Amazon warehouse. And there's some concerns about the traffic that may be created and potential noise. The town staff are working through the site plan application. It is a site plan application. It is not a land use application, but they're trying to help the residents understand that they're analyzing the applicant's requests to try and make sure that they're going to be a good neighbor. And they're also trying to work through a ministerial zoning order that is on the lands and is the request has been to remove it from the applicant. Lots of residents would not accept that that building should be allowed to expand in the future. And so Councillor Giddings and I have been encouraging the town staff and others to write their letters to the province. As you said, we're the creature of the province, to say, don't allow them to remove the language that restricts expansion, because we expect that we'll have a warehouse, but we don't want it to be bigger than it currently is in the future.
That episode of Oakville Matters airs tonight at 7:30. You can learn more about the status of the Amazon proposal on there. Also, Mayor Rob Burton and Councillor Tom Adams will be on that program. Other topics include the latest COVID-19 updates with some theories on why Halton was left behind while the rest of the province moves into phase 2. We've seen many great initiatives to help those in need make ends meet during these past few months, but what about our pets? One local business is hoping to make our fur babies taken care of as best they can. Melissa Candelaria with more.
A Milton pet store is making sure we don't forget our furry friends over the course of this pandemic. Pet Value in Milton has launched a food drive during their Pet Appreciation Month. Owner Robert Keating says one of their core values is supporting local causes and initiatives.
We're asking customers that are in the store to help us in donating food, canned food. That canned food will be delivered to the Upper Credit Humane Society and also the Salvation Army Food Bank, which is located in Milton. The second initiative is that $1 from every bag of food that's sold is going to go to 2 local rescues. One again being the Upper Credit Humane Society and the other one being the Animal Rescue Society of Ontario.
For many, pets are part of the family. Keating says that's why it's so important we make sure they are taken care of as well.
People that have to use the food bank also may need to buy food for their family pets. So that is why we're supporting that initiative, because we're spending so much time at home that now pets are so important to us as companions for daily walks or there's been a lot of surveys done that would indicate that pets lower our stress levels. That's why we're supporting, and that's why it's so important to Pet Value.
The Salvation Army Kai community is certainly grateful for Pet Value's support. Captain Ruth Hickman says they are always looking for donations.
We often have folks coming to us for food assistance and asking if there's anything we can do to help. And so whenever we have items, we are happy to share, and we are always so grateful when companies like Pet Value come out and support what we're doing by making donations of dog and cat food. And it's such a gift that we can give people, and it really takes a load off their shoulders too. when they know that their pets are going to be cared for.
Not only is Pet Value asking for food donations, they are also collecting money. The food drive runs until the end of June. Reporting for Halton News, I'm Melissa Candelaria.
Still ahead, the Burlington Farmers Market has reopened. Nikki Wesley was on site today to show you the new physical distancing measurements that have been put into place for your safety. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Halton News. The Burlington Farmers Market opened today in the parking lot of the Burlington Center. The market is open Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday with 14 new vendors this year. Nikki Wesley with more.
I'm here at opening day of the Burlington Farmers Market. There are a few new rules to follow, and you can see the structure's a little bit different behind me because of the pandemic restrictions, but both farmers and customers are thrilled to be back with the fresh produce.
We were pretty panicked because this is the majority of our income. So, we were trying to figure out alternate sources to sell our fruit, there's very limited when you have a lot of fruit. So we're glad that we're back at markets again.
I caught up with market co-chair Jim McLaughlin to find out how the market is different this year.
The market this year is much wider. The main aisle is double width so that we can have actually 3 lanes of travel in a counterclockwise direction with a median down the middle so that people can facilitate 6 foot apart distancing.
To help keep touching of produce to a minimum, the new slogan of the market is Point to Buy. Customers are also being encouraged to shop and go instead of hanging around to socialize. This will help keep the lineup of people waiting to get in as short as possible.
Just like to welcome everyone back who is accustomed to coming to the market. It's the same vendors plus the 14 new ones, the same fresh products, but it's a very relaxed atmosphere and it's a good place to be out in the sunshine.
We welcome the farmers market back. We wouldn't do without it.
Reporting for Halton News, I'm Nikki Wesley.
There's a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for the entire Halton region. Watch out for damaging wind gusts of up to 110 kilometers per hour. This will last into tomorrow, maybe causing power outages, torrential downpours, or large hail. The temperatures, however, are lessening. We will be out of our heat warning by tomorrow, but as mentioned, there is that 40% chance of thunder showers and rain coming tomorrow. After that, full sunshine for 4 days here in our forecast with temperatures ranging between 17 and 21 degrees. The Milton Chamber is hosting their next webinar tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Robert Duvall of RDC Networks will debunk some common myths related to hackers and cybersecurity, discuss the top 5 computer viruses in 2020, review cybersecurity best practices, and offer tips to protect yourself. You can still register by visiting miltonchamber.com. This webinar is free for members. And now we'll look at how some of our local businesses have done today in our Market Watch. Still ahead, the gift of giving back and the Burlington Food Bank. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to Halton News. For those of you wanting to help keep the Burlington Food Bank shelves stocked, the Gift of Giving Back is holding a drive-through food bank in the Burlington Center parking lot at Fairview Street and Guelph Line this coming Saturday from 11 to 4 p.m. You may have noticed that there are many food organizations in Burlington, but the Burlington Food Bank happens to be the only member of Food Banks Canada and Feed Ontario. For more information on what that means, I'll turn it over to Robin Bailey.
One of the questions we sometimes get asked is what sort of sets us apart as the food bank here in Burlington. And one of the things is that we're the members of Food Banks Canada and Feed Ontario that represent Burlington. And so what that does is it actually helps us to have a couple of different things. One is a little bit of oversight and some direction from both of those organizations, obviously nationally and provincially, that they help us out. It also allows us to advocate a little bit better for our clients and for those who are suffering from food insecurity and especially poverty. We see food insecurity as a bigger issue than just poverty, and so we try to help out with all kinds of different things. I personally am actually part of the advocacy committee with Feed Ontario, and so we meet regularly and try and talk through all of those things and not just about the food concerns. Also what it does is it allows us to have access to resources that many others don't. So we have webinars that are offered to us regularly, as well as some Ignite tools, which allows us to have a lot more learning available to our staff and to our volunteers. And so we want to thank both Food Banks Canada and Feed Ontario for all that they do to support us right here in Burlington and all of our clients, because that's who they truly care about when it all comes down to it, is those who need help.
New measures like working from home, social distancing, and staying in are contributing factors for conflicting feelings and situations. Halton Women's Place invites you to join their public education team in exploring some conflict resolution strategies and different tips to help maintain those healthy relationships that are being put to the test. This free event will take place online June 12th at 1 p.m., but you must register in advance. To do so, please visit haltonwomensplace.com. You can support the Oakville Legion this Friday and also enjoy fish and chips for dinner. Prices start at $10. The Oakville Legion is located at 36 Upper Middle Road in Oakville. Food is served at 4 p.m. You can call 905-845-6271 for more information. The Goodwill Career Center is hosting a virtual workshop about getting a job during the pandemic. The workshop takes place on Tuesday, June 16th from 10 a.m. until noon. The Goodwill Career Center is located at 3505 Upper Middle Road in Burlington. There is no cost. It is free for you, but you do need to register by Friday, June 12th. For more information on this, please call 905-633-8324. The Museums of Burlington is pleased to offer a new program for kids. Virtual visits are daily 1-hour Zoom sessions for children aged 8 to 12. They take place from 11 a.m. to 12 noon each day starting next week. The cost is $25 per week, and that includes a craft supply bag for creative, fun, hands-on, structured activities and crafts. This week's theme is Mysteries, Myths, and Monsters. For more information or to register, please visit museumsofburlington.ca. We do need to end the show, but if you'd like more content, you can visit us online. We have content on yourtv.tv. We're also available on various social media channels, including Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Our handle is @TVHalton. Please follow us and like us. We're posting content for you there every day. For Halton News, I'm Jessica Kading. Thanks for watching.